Welcome to Ferrum Football First and 10, episode number 3 here. I'm your host, Taylor Chitwood. Alongside me is first-year head coach Cleive Adams. Coach, thanks for joining me yet again.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to be here this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a little bit of a bonus episode now. As we know, the Hank Norton Center, the Hallers are a little quiet.
That's right.
The student-athletes aren't here with the extended break going on.
No question. It's a little bit strange for me. Usually we're probably 2 or 3 more weeks into the semester until we actually have a standard break in a traditional fall semester. Preparing to get on the road and hit some high schools, traditional recruiting season. So it's a little bit strange. Right now we're flipping the dynamic around a little bit and trying to take advantage of this window of opportunity to do a little bit of recruiting and try to get ahead of the game going into the first of the year.
You kind of touched on it there, but with the longer break than normal, does that change anything? Did that change the non-traditional fall season, where you usually, obviously everything has changed, but moving forward, trying to catch some normalcy per se, does that change anything with the student athletes being gone a little bit longer?
Not a lot, but the big challenge that we're having right now is just understanding the transition from fall to spring this year because of the effects of COVID. And this particular winter break, so to speak, we're preparing, and the guys are a little bit more responsible to come back in better shape than normal because we're going to be walking into a spring competition season, and that requirement's a little bit different for the upperclassmen. The newcomers, they don't know any different. But the upperclassmen who've been through this a few times, never been held to a standard to come back in football playing shape. So that is a little bit of a challenge.
Taking a step back here, before we said goodbye to the students for break, we had our final inter-squad. And then, kind of a recap on that. We looked pretty good. I mean, Titus under center there, his first possession with the ball in his hands. Coach Shaw, Coach Summers, Coach McConnell, everybody on the offensive staff put the ball in his hands, and he had to make a lot of decisions. There was a lot of different read plays that he had, and in the booth I was watching. I don't think he missed a single read. That first possession drove right down the field and scored. So it was really good to see that. Really from top to bottom, the guys look strong in their last inter squad.
Yeah, we were pleased coming off of the final inter squad scrimmage. Got a lot of really good work. We designed the scrimmage a little differently. I always try to challenge the team a little bit, and what we did was we had 4 quarters, or really 5 quarters. The first and third quarter we had the older offensive guys against the younger defensive guys, and then vice versa, the older defensive guys against the younger offensive guys. And then the second and the fourth quarter we had the older guys against the older guys, and then in the fifth quarter we allowed the younger guys to play it out. So you're right about Titus. We were excited about how he controlled the offense and commanded the offense and some of the decision-making situations that he was in. And when he was supposed to make plays, he made plays, and we were super excited about that. We're very excited about the defense flying around. The guys were playing with great energy, like they were not thinking at all. They were just playing free and physical, and that's what we want to see moving forward, something we can build on.
And also with the younger guys in that fifth quarter, I mean, they played well too. Like I said, from top to bottom, there was a lot to take away from every quarter. Seaman are in the booth watching. Now, obviously, you're looking for a lot more different things, but at least from my side, the fan side, there were highlight plays, and I mean, in that fifth quarter, you had a receiver in the end zone pull one down. It's just probably the catch of the day. Yeah. And it's good to see the competition. They want to compete. They want to get out there. They want to put the work in. They have put the work in, and to see it come to fruition is a good sight.
Well, I'll tell you what, we were blessed to have the opportunity in the fall season to get that type of work in. And you're right, we had a lot of positive momentum with our younger guys, and as we talked about the last time we were together, going into this spring 21 short season, we're going to count on being able to establish some type of depth, and I think what we did in the fall semester in that phase of practice gave us an opportunity to put a pretty good foundation together moving forward.
So I noticed after the scrimmage as well, you pulled everybody together. You came in at the 50, and I talked a little bit about the Marshall tragedy as well. Obviously, that was that day, and it was heavy, and obviously it meant a lot to us. But also, you seem to have a longer message to them. Kind of, hey guys, this is really it right now. You've worked this hard. Let's continue on. What kind of message did you relay to the guys that day, and then the next few days afterwards?
Well, I think when the scrimmage was over, it was one of those situations where it was like unbelievable for not only the coaching staff, but the team as well, because we had been together since August and put in a tremendous amount of work and sacrifice, and it didn't seem right for it to be over, and I don't think anyone was ready for it to be over. We had a grand time, learned a lot about each other, but the base message was just to appreciate the opportunity that we had. We have a administration here at Ferrum that really worked with us to allow us to have an opportunity to practice and compete, and a lot of institutions didn't have that opportunity. And I just wanted the guys to understand the sacrifices that were made outside of the athletic world and on the administrative side to allow us to do that. And I think a lot of times we take things for granted. And for me, I never want my young people to take things for granted. I want them to understand how and why we were able to do the things we were doing.
That's a good little segue there with the leadership of the upperclassmen. Again, you'd mentioned it earlier as well, that they understand, what it takes to be in play shape. Have to come back after a summer break and come back ready to play, ready to be in shape to play.
That's right.
So with the time now and the underclassmen not really understanding that, especially your freshmen, your first-year players, they don't know what play and shape is yet. They haven't been in a game setting in college football yet. So how is it for the upperclassmen to keep the underclassmen kind of honest at home and say, hey, this is the stuff you have to do. This is a leadership that we're pushing out for you, and we hope that you follow along.
Well, I think it's something that we've established throughout the fall semester. We talked a little bit about our leadership program and what we try to do to establish leadership on this football team. We have 16 captains split up in pairs of 8, and those guys have been responsible for a subsection of the football team since August, and that responsibility doesn't change going into the winter break. I tell the guys all the time, leadership don't take a day off. And we communicate day in and day out about the expectation. The one good thing about it is Coach Summers did an unbelievable job setting the foundation in terms of what we're supposed to be doing from a strength and conditioning standpoint over the fall semester. They know what it's supposed to look like now. And now it's about execution when no one else is paying attention, when you're at home and you're on your own and you don't have a coach pushing you, don't have a teammate pushing you. You have to get it done on your own, and we're going to find out a lot about the guys when they come back in January.
And what kind of communication are you having, you to the players, your staff to the players, your staff to those captains, to those leadership guys? What kind of communication are you having right now?
Well, something I've done for the past 4 or 5 years as a head coach is a call list. We do it over the summer months. We do it over breaks. And what happens, we take the roster from alphabetically, and then we split it up by staff members, and everyone has an initial by a group of guys, and we rotate that week in and week out. So it's not just, hey, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, you call your guys, position group guys, you call your guys. We split the roster up between the coaching staff, and every week a new coach calls a different group of guys. And what that does is create chemistry within our football team. It puts us in a situation to establish relationships, and that builds retention. So that's what we're pretty much focusing on during the winter break.
And with the new staff here, with Coach Ellis, Coach McCray, Coach Shaw, those guys that were here when you came over, I'm sure that's an advantage as well to kind of build those guys with your frame of mind, with your framework, and to be able to work under you and learn from you. And again, that's a big advantage as well, to be able to sit there and learn from you. The communication, the everyday message, the hashtag BAM, 1 Corinthians. I mean, it's. I know I've learned a lot from, and I have nothing to do with the football staff, but to be able to sit here and see how you carry yourself, the program, your staff, how you keep everybody honest on a daily basis. It's got to be an advantage to the coaches, to the younger coaches as well, to be able to learn under you.
Well, I think it's a group effort. Obviously, as the head coach, I have the vision and setting the foundation in terms of the direction we want to go. But one thing that I've learned over the course, I don't know how many months since April when I came on board, is as I'm surrounded by like-minded people. And what I mean by that, my coaching staff, they're a wonderful group of men, and they understand exactly what I want to do, and it falls into their wheelhouse in terms of their beliefs. So it's not very difficult to execute what we're doing when I'm surrounded by men who appreciate the exact same philosophy that we're implementing in our program right now.
And everybody's growing. I mean, again, I want to go back to the scrimmage just a little bit. You know, on the defensive side, on the defensive sideline, Coach Doss and his defensive staff, we're all flying around with the student athletes, with the football players. I mean, you're right. The football players were playing free, and the coaches were coaching free. I mean, they had a blast. They had a great time. You saw Coach Summers, you know, having a blast calling plays with Titus, with all the quarterbacks that played, with the whole offense, with everybody. You know, it was like in that catch. You saw everybody on the offensive sideline just go crazy. And, you know, it's fun to see a staff having fun and learning and growing together.
Yeah, that was fun to be a part of, and again, just a privilege for us and to be able to get it done in the fall semester. And for me as head football coach, I learned a lot about myself again. I learned a lot about my staff and my football team, and without the support of our administration allowing us to do it, we would be delayed in understanding those things about our program. And obviously we're still not there yet 100%, but we try to keep things simple, focus on fundamentals, and allow the guys to play, and it showed in that inter-squad scrimmage, that last one.
And again, as we wrap up here, you know, what will it be like when the athletes return? You know, is it going to be changing? You know, do you expect a little grace period of getting the younger players, the underclassmen, ready to play? Will they come ready to play? I mean, I know that there's a lot up in the air, you know, because it is new. Every day is a new challenge, a new journey that we've never seen before.
That's right.
So, you know, what do you expect it to be when the student athletes return?
Well, I think it's business as usual. The difference between January when the guys return and August when they first came back to school is that we know what it's supposed to look like. We understand COVID responsibility. We understand the challenges that we were under during this 2-month break, this winter break, versus the summer when all the gyms closed and everyone was scrambling to figure out how to exist to the current norm. The difference moving forward is that we've been through that. So the expectation is to come in understanding exactly what we need to do and hit the ground running. And again, I can't emphasize enough the communication that we're having with our guys about just being responsible and staying healthy, because once we get back, it's going to be a sprint to the opener, okay? And we have to understand our responsibility as a football program, our responsibility to the Ferrum community, and we're going to be tested 3 times a week. So that's a different dynamic. So everything is going to be intensified a little bit more, but again, I like to reiterate again that we understand what it's supposed to look like, and we understand what the expectation is moving forward. So I'm excited. I'm excited for our guys to come back. We have guys that just want to be back to school. It's a refreshing thing when you're calling them on a weekly basis, Coach, I just want to come back. I just want to be back. So that's exciting, and again, we know what we need to do, and we're going to put the best foot forward and try to represent this football program in the Black Hat Nation the way it's supposed to be.
Well, Coach, I think we've touched on enough here to move the chains and get a fresh set of downs in our next episode. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, I'm the host, Taylor Chitwood, and alongside me is first-year head coach, Cleive Adams. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Man, thank you so much, Taylor.